Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we have several interesting encounters where cops miserably fail to intimidate people and eventually end up making a fool out of themselves. In this first clip, a driver was stalked and followed by an officer for miles after he left a gas station. And right off the bat, it becomes pretty clear that the officer had no reason to pull the driver over, as he visibly did not turn on his emergency lights and never indicated signs of initiating a traffic stop. It almost appears as if the officer was simply fishing for something to accuse the driver of. Regardless, the driver asked the passenger to start recording for safety and then pulled over to the side of the road so he could figure out what the officer's matter was. In the video, the driver also makes it clear that he was strictly following the traffic laws throughout his journey. Interestingly, as soon as the driver pulled over, the officer suddenly decided to turn on his emergency lights and officially initiate a traffic stop.
Hold that. I already got it recorded. So I went to the gas station because I had to go get a couple things. I've been using my turn signals. Plus, I've been doing the speed limit. There's two cops sitting on the side of the road. This cop has been following me for like 4 or 5 miles now. Everywhere I go, he keeps following me. So I'm gonna get out and find out what the problem is.
So he turned his lights on as soon as we pulled up here.
So I just took my seatbelt off.
The officer then approaches the driver and makes contact with him, but is immediately questioned by the driver, who promptly asks for the nature of the traffic stop. As soon as the officer is questioned, it appears that he has no answer to give and remains speechless for a good moment before stating that he would be happy to explain, only if the driver identified himself. As expected, the driver refuses to provide any documentation to the officer and makes it clear that he needs to know why he was stopped. On top of this, the driver also tells the officer that he's in fact a constitutionalist, implying that he is well aware of the law and knows exactly what rights he has as a free U.S. citizen.
Evening, sir. Deputy Rouse of the Sheriff's Office. How you doing? You got your license, registration, proof of insurance with you tonight?
What's the nature of the stop?
As soon as I know who you are, I'll be happy to explain that.
Is this Nazi Germany? Do I gotta provide papers before you tell me why?
Well, if I don't know who I'm talking to, in case you run off or flee, I'd like to know who I'm talking to. So if you don't mind providing your identification, I'd be happy to go forward.
Well, I would take the key out if I could, but I can't.
Okay, no problem.
I would still like to know why I'm being stopped.
I'd be happy to explain that to you as soon as you provide me with identification, sir.
Are we in Nazi Germany?
No, we're not. I think you know the answer to that question.
Okay.
I don't think Nazi Germany exists anymore.
Exactly my point. You do realize in order to get ID from somebody, you have to have a reason and articulate that reason for the stop, right?
I'm well aware of how it works.
Well, you do realize I'm a constitutionalist, so I know this.
Okay.
So unless you can articulate,
here?
this is my property,
This is
yes.
your property.
Well, I don't live here, but this is my
This
property.
is where you're staying? Okay.
This is not where I'm staying, but I own this property.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
And I knew you were following me. I knew I used my turn signals. I knew I wasn't speeding. As soon as I see you on the side of the road, I see you hit your brake lights. I knew you're gonna with me. I knew exactly what you were gonna do. There's nothing wrong with my car. Every light on my car works.
Yes, sir.
So, now that the officer knows that this man is educated about the law and his rights, he realizes that there's no way he could abuse his power in this situation. And what does he do after this? Well, he makes up an absurd reason for the traffic stop by claiming that it appeared as if the driver's vehicle did not have a front bumper on it, which was of course not true at all. The officer then pretends to check if the driver's vehicle is good to be out on the roads, and the driver quickly catches on to his ridiculous tricks and asks him to call his supervisor while laughing in disbelief. Eventually, though, the officer finally admits to his foolishness and agrees that the driver did nothing wrong whatsoever.
So what's the nature of the stop?
Well, the nature of the stop is when you went by, it didn't look like there was a front bumper. And then as I was behind the car trying to run a registration, you took multiple turns and it appeared to be evading me. All I'm doing is checking out what's going on.
You better get your goddamn supervisor. When is it illegal to make turns?
It's always illegal to make turns.
Dude, we both know where this is going, and you know you have no reason to pull me over.
Okay. All you need in Michigan is reasonable suspicion to make a traffic stop.
Yes, you have to have RAS. But what is your single articulable suspicion?
It appeared you were trying to avoid police contact. It looked like you had a bumper on the front of the car when you went by.
Dude, I'm not giving ID, because I didn't do nothing wrong.
Okay. Is this your car?
It's in my dad's name,
This
yes.
is in your dad's name?
Yep.
Okay, so
Dude, this is going to make an awesome YouTube video. You just admitted that I committed no crime or no traffic infraction. When the f*** is it illegal to make turns?
well,
There is a bumper on my car.
it's
Come on, man. This is... Come on. You know it's... Just leave me alone.
okay, man.
You know this is... Just leave me the alone. I'm not doing nothing. Right? Okay. You have a good night.
In this clip, an auditor driving down the freeway notices a patrol vehicle tailgating him for several minutes before speeding past his vehicle and swerving lanes without using turn signals. After witnessing this, he decides to follow the patrol vehicle and catches the officer's erratic driving on his vehicle's dash cam. Since the auditor certainly didn't want to let the officer break the very laws that they enforce, he continues to follow the patrol vehicle into a gas station and uses his phone to record his confrontation. When the auditor questions the officer about his driving, he replies with a blatant excuse, saying that he was responding to a call that later got canceled. But, as expected, the auditor does not put up with his lame excuse and mentions that the officer stopped at every red light, which implies that he was not responding to a call at all. The auditor also stated that he would be pulling up the records to check if the officer was being truthful, and in response, the officer confidently tells him to go ahead, then rolls his window up to end the conversation.
How's it going, brother? Hey, why were you in such a rush just now?
What are you talking about?
You were racing down 441 there. I was behind you for most of the time, and then you lost me, and we both got caught up at the same red light.
So I was on my way to a call and the call got canceled.
It did? So you stopped at all those red lights on your way to a call?
Yeah.
So if I pull the records, there was a call.
Go pull.
I will.
Okay.
What's your name?
Sir? Trooper Hannon. Hannon.
All right. I've never had a problem with you guys in 4 years.
Good.
You've always been super professional.
Yep.
Nobody's ever lied to me until today.
Okay. Have a good day, sir.
You're a liar, Hannon.
Thank you.
Slow down.
Okay.
If you're going to enforce the law
Have a
and
good
be
day,
the
sir.
best of us,
Thank you.
do the best.
Soon after this, the auditor calls for the officer multiple times but gets ignored. However, after knocking on the patrol vehicle in an attempt to grab his attention, the officer suddenly pushes the door open, almost hitting the auditor, and steps out while seemingly trying to intimidate the auditor, who was simply recording him and holding him accountable for his unlawful actions. The auditor also asks the officer to call his supervisor, but is constantly told that he would not be calling his supervisor regardless.
Hey, Hannon. Hey, Hannon. Hannon. Get your supervisor here.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to call your supervisor now, please.
Go ahead, call him. Thank you.
Why are you rolling up on me? You think that intimidation is going to work? Like I said, I've done this for about 4 years. It doesn't work.
What's your problem?
It's that you were speeding and you have
Okay.
no accountability. You could have said, "Hey, I'm sorry," and I could have let you off with a warning, like I was planning on doing.
Good job, man.
Good job. What? Did you call your supervisor like I asked?
No.
Will you?
No.
You're not gonna call him, Hannah.
Absolutely not.
Get that flag off that uniform. You're making it look like crap.
As the officer returns to his patrol vehicle, the auditor tells the officer that he'd be filing a complaint against him if he still refuses to call for his supervisor. In response to this, the officer says that the auditor could go ahead and do that, which illustrates the officer's ignorance and tells us that he thinks he's well above the law. And then, as if the entire situation wasn't already bad enough, the officer uses profane language to end their conversation before driving away.
You're not calling your supervisor?
How are you, ma'am? Good, how are you? Good.
Don't even try to solicit a trespass. Just call your supervisor like I ordered you to.
How you guys?
This behavior is not going to go uncorrected.
It is, right? It's human.
One of your fellow troopers, he gave me a warning when I was speeding on that same road,
Have a good day.
and that's what I would have let you go with too. Either get your supervisor or get a complaint on your record. You gonna call him? Okay.
What am I gonna do that for?
Oh, nice mouth.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
What a piece of garbage.
Have a good day.
Moving on to the next clip, this man here is being asked for his driver's license, even though he's just a passenger inside the vehicle. In response to this madness, the passenger rightfully questions the officer as to why he would need to provide his license in the first place. And, as unbelievable as it sounds, the officer then tries to justify her unlawful order by claiming that something came up, and that she now needed the passenger's license to check for something. Immediately after this, the passenger rightfully refuses to provide the officer with any documentation, and the officer is seen walking off. It's easy to tell that her ego is hurt.
So I'm the passenger in the vehicle, and you're asking for my license?
I'm asking for your license, yes.
And I'm the passenger in the vehicle?
Yes.
Because, I'm sorry, why again?
No, she said something came up.
What'd you say?
No, so you said something came up, you said.
Yes, something came up. I need to check something. Are you refusing?
Yes, I am, because I'm not the driver, so I'm confused.
Amidst this, another officer pulls up and approaches the passenger. Thankfully, this officer turns out to be a quick thinker and manages to explain the situation in a calm and coherent manner. He informs the passenger that his uncle, who was driving the vehicle, had been mistakenly identified as a wanted criminal by the female officer. This second officer had been called to the scene to investigate, but quickly realized there had been a mix-up. The passenger, understandably curious, asks how he's involved in all of this. And in response, the officer shrugs and admits he's not entirely sure, as he only arrived on the scene a few moments ago. It's a silly turn of events, but at least there's someone on the scene who's able to make sense of it all.
How you doing, man?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Yeah. So he got pulled over for tinted windows, right? Oh, don't scream too loud, Dre.
I have a family just like you have a family.
So he got pulled over for tinted windows.
My son, which I explained to you.
Your officer told me she came to the passenger door and said, "Give me your ID. I need your ID and your license, your identification." I said, "Why?" She said, "All of a sudden something came up." What does that mean?
Okay, so I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'm not going to tell you a story. Obviously, I wasn't here when the issue got pulled over.
Dre, be loud. Don't be too loud.
The reason why I got called to the scene is because your father. This is your father.
It's my uncle.
Your uncle. So when my partner ran your uncle's name, sometimes our computer will give us a generic warrant result if the name is similar in the computer system. So when she initially ran his driver's license, she got a hit saying that he's a wanted person by the New York City Police Department. So I came over, I looked at her computer screen, verified it's not the same person. The name is very similar, but the date of birth.
What does that have to do with the passenger?
Again, I wasn't here when you initially got pulled over.
Since the second officer basically implied that the female officer messed up, the passenger then turns to the female officer and makes sure that she understands her mistake. However, the female officer continues to remain on her power trip and claims that she has the right to ask anyone for any documents as per her choice. She eventually gives up and shamelessly walks away once it becomes crystal clear that she acted unlawfully.
Your officer is letting me know that you were wrong. You understand that you were wrong, right?
You're allowed to refuse, but I'm allowed to ask for your license. You're allowed to refuse.
But you know your officer explained that you were wrong. You understand that or you don't?
Well,
I'm allowed to ask for your license, and you're allowed to refuse.
You're right. Have a good day. So we're done here?
yeah, we're done, yeah.
Here we have another jaw-dropping encounter. In In this unbelievable incident, a deputy decides to harass a man who's simply standing on a public sidewalk minding his own business and legally filming his surroundings. The deputy pulls up and immediately starts questioning the man about why he's filming. And when the man rightfully refuses to answer the pointless questions, the deputy takes things to a whole new level by unlawfully ordering him to leave the area. But wait, it gets worse. The deputy even has the audacity to claim that he has jurisdiction all over the county. It's a shocking display of abuse of power that will leave you shaking your head in disbelief.
How are you doing? How are you?
Where are you filming?
Who are you?
The deputy.
Good.
What are you filming? Just filming for what? Sir? What are you filming for?
Nice day, isn't it?
Go on your way, bud.
Do you have jurisdiction outside of that building? Are you a deputy?
Sir, I got jurisdiction over there.
At this point, it's painfully obvious that this deputy has no interest in de-escalating the situation. Despite creating an issue with the innocent man for no reason, the deputy decides to make matters worse by claiming that the county jail building behind him is his property. Yes, you heard that right. When the man implies that he could freely videotape the building, the deputy boldly asserts that he owns it. If this isn't a power trip, then I don't know what is. Luckily, the man who's filming is quick to remind the deputy about who really owns the building, which is of course the taxpayers. But either way, the deputy continues to make himself look bad by refusing to identify himself, instead asking the man for his ID, which is yet another unlawful order.
You want to identify yourself?
You got any ID?
You want to identify yourself?
Sure.
You approached me. I didn't approach you.
You're taking a picture of my facility. That's what I'm asking.
Are you Benny N. Napoleon? His name's on there.
Sir. That's what I'm asking. Do you have an identification?
Do I need ID?
You do not need ID. I'm asking you around.
I do need ID, huh? That's what you're telling me?
Go.
I'm just on a public sidewalk.
I understand
not doing
that,
anything
but
wrong.
you are not taking pictures of my building.
I'm just getting some shade here. It's a cool spot right here.
You're taking pictures of my building. Go.
Do you believe in the Constitution and the First Amendment?
I sure do. Did you do anything to support it? Did you go in the military?
You protect?
Undeterred by the fact that he's on public property, the deputy persists in ordering the man to leave the area, even going so far as to suggest that he should go for a bike ride. When the man asks where he should go, the deputy responds with a flippant and ignorant wherever, before walking off into the distance and disappearing back into the county jail building. Ultimately, all the deputy really did was try to abuse his power, but miserably fail at it.
Sir, go. Go for a bike ride.
Oh, so now you tell me how to get my exercise.
Sir, go. Let's go. Come on, guy, let's go. What's up, bud?
Where would you like me to go?
Wherever. Just don't take pictures of our building. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. You all right? Have a good day.
You have yourself a good day.
All right, buddy.
You're making up stuff. All you cops say the same thing. There goes the walk of shame, guys.
In this clip, a man is filming a traffic stop when one of the officers on the scene approaches him and asks him if he needs anything. In response, the man makes it clear that he does not require any assistance and tells the officer that he's dismissed, implying that he simply wants to be left alone so he can continue filming. Apparently, this triggers the officer, and it becomes even more evident when the man films the officer's patrol vehicle and is met with a series of mindless yelling and shouting in return.
No. Nope, you're dismissed.
Dismissed?
Yep.
Actually, that's not how it works, but...
Am I committing a crime?
No, but I'd like to know if you need
I'd like to not answer your questions. You're dismissed.
Why are you taking it?
Because I'm allowed to film in public.
You are allowed to film it.
Cool. You're
But I'm
dismissed.
just making sure that you need anything.
I don't need anything from you.
do us a favor, don't interfere with our investigation.
I'm not interfering. You don't need to tell me that.
You're nice. I appreciate you.
Cool. You're dismissed.
As this goes on, the man filming the encounter informs the officer that he's at a safe distance away from the scene and is free to record anything. In response, the officer starts to shamelessly accuse the man of trying to free a detained subject from inside the patrol vehicle. It's almost as if the officer's feelings have been hurt to such an extent that he simply wants to take revenge in any possible way.
Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm not doing anything wrong, man.
You can't just walk up on a police
I can
absolutely investigation.
I know the law better than you, don't I? Interesting.
We got a prisoner in the back.
I'm 10 feet away.
Just walk up on
I'm
the
10.
You were close.
What law am I breaking?
I don't know you.
Tell me what law I'm breaking, officer.
You coming?
In a clear attempt to escalate the situation, the officer approaches the man and continues to accuse him of trying to help a detained subject escape from the patrol vehicle. We all know that this accusation is far from reality, but the officer has apparently decided to use this to justify his strong emotions. Then, the man rightfully informs the officer that he'll be filing a complaint, and the officer confidently tells him to go for it, stating that he broke no laws and did not violate the man's rights.
Coming to let this dude out of the car?
Can you tell me what law I'm breaking?
Coming to let this dude out of the car?
I don't have to answer your questions.
That's what it surely looked like.
I don't have to answer your
You were walking
questions.
Right up to that car.
This is textbook, dude. I don't have to answer your questions. You're just educating my friends here. That's all.
You can educate all you want, but what you can't do is you can't interfere with our investigation.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to tell you. If you'd like to video, I would like you against the wall, because I'm going to let you know right
Understand.
now.
Here's
you walk
good.
To right here.
Here's fine.
And this is where my prisoner is. You want to see him?
Okay,
Here he
here's
is.
fine.
Amidst this, the man asks the officer what laws he had broken, and this, as expected, leaves the officer speechless for a brief moment, before entirely changing the topic and walking back to his patrol vehicle soon after. This goes to show that the officer had no reason to even speak with the man who was filming the scene. The officer was just hurt that a civilian was able to tell him that he was dismissed, which is something that power-seeking police officers are clearly not used to.
You're getting a complaint on you, dude. You need to
You
step
go
back.
right ahead. I haven't violated any of your rights.
I haven't violated any of
Not
your laws.
one. But you sure are
Oh, man.
really taking me away from my
You
investigation.
sound like feelings enforcement right now. You're law
Feelings
enforcement, dude.
enforcement.
What law did I break?
I'm telling you, do you understand? If you
What
walk
law
up
did
to
I
this
break?
cruiser, there are prisoners
Educate the
in each
public.
one of them.
Educate the public. What law did I break?
I don't know you.
You don't know what law I broke
I don't
because there
know
wasn't
you.
one.
So if you
Can you leave me alone? I'm just filming. Can you leave me
It's called
alone?
obstruction.
Can you leave me
It's what
alone?
it's called.
It's not. It's not.
It's
No. Actually,
It's the
it's
wrong
10 feet
prison.
away, dude. It's 10 feet away.
That's cute.
All I need
Because
is
you're
8,
closer
and
than
there's
10
10 feet. All I need is 8. I know the
just
law,
letting
man.
you know again.
I know the law.
Don't do it.
You don't have to let me know anything.
don't do it.
I can do what I was doing. I was 10 feet away.
If you walk
And you still can't name a law I broke. Can you, law enforcement? You can't name a law. You're real mad. You're big mad right now.
Be sure to check out our previous video, where we thoroughly cover an outrageous police encounter